The root cause to every problem that is 100% within our control is reflected in the commercials that we see on TV and on YouTube. In fact, it's reflected in every commercial everywhere we go. Radio, newspapers, TV, internet, movies. Everywhere we go, we're being bombarded by the root cause, and that's because everything revolves around these mistakes. And now, our subsequent need for money is giving power to these advertisers to silence the truth. Oh, you can't say anything against our advertisers, not realizing that this is how we're being tricked and fooled. This is how our brains are being bombarded with more bullshit about the truth about our mistakes. And what's interesting about this is that the mistakes we're making has to do with our food. So when we look at the commercials on TV, what do we see? A whole bunch of commercials selling us the wrong food, and a whole bunch of drugs to treat the symptoms from eating the wrong foods. That's why they had to create a Food and Drug Administration. The powers that be created this agency to control us, to keep us from finding out that the wrong food is killing us and creating all these symptoms, and that the right food is the solution to those problems. And they want us to instead think that it's the drugs that are the solution. So you can't say anything bad about the wrong food. You can't say anything bad about the wrong drug or the drugs, because these guys are flipping the bill. Once again, the biggest problem we have is we have the wrong mentality. We shouldn't have a subsequent need for money. So when you start trying to solve this problem, where do you begin? Well, you have to realize, first of all, that we have to go upstream, get reconnected, so we won't have all these subsequent needs from having the wrong mentality, because we're making mistakes, and that's what creates the wrong mentality. So that's the ultimate solution. But what do we do in the meantime? How do we keep these advertisers from silencing the people telling the truth about how bad these things are for us? Where do we begin? We got all these corrupt politicians. How do we get rid of the FDA? How do we get rid of all these agencies that are used to protect bad people? Well, we know the solution has to be a bottom-up solution. We know that we have to go upstream. That's the ultimate solution. But what do we do in the meantime? Is there anything we can do? Can we get any decent politicians to stop allowing these sick psychopaths to poison our water and our air and our food? What can we do? When are we going to wake up? We're the Goliath here in this equation. We're in the majority, but we're ignorant. So we have to figure out some way to overcome that. Remember, I've explained this in all of my other videos, or at least if you go back to the Ultimate Solution 11-part video series where I explain all 281 pieces, but I give the definitive answer to three main questions. Why do we have so many problems? Why aren't we solving our problems, and how do we solve our problems? Well, the simple reason why we have so many problems, we're making mistakes. Simple reason why we're not solving these problems is because we don't know we're making mistakes. Most of us are doing things we think are okay, but they're not okay, they're wrong. But we see them advertised on TV all day long. There's nothing wrong with this and this and this. It would be illegal to sell it, right? They couldn't advertise to eat this if it was healthy. You couldn't go to a store and buy 90% of what the things they're selling us if it wasn't healthy. But that's not true. We can do that. That's the problem. So we don't know, we're ignorant. And when we look at why we don't know, one of the main reasons why we don't know is because everything revolves around it. Everything, our traditions, that's how we start our life. Being taught the same stupid mistakes and eating the wrong food and thinking that doctors have the answer, that they're the solution for our ills and ill behaviors, and they're not. They're just as misdirected as all the rest of us. In fact, they're intentionally misdirected so they can in turn misdirect the rest of us. And it wasn't that long ago, about a decade or so, where it was illegal to advertise drugs on TV. Now we're being bombarded with ask your doctor, ask your doctor, ask your doctor. Once again, giving credence to an industry that is the worst possible industry we could have when it comes to solving our health problems. And that's by design. The sick people who rule the world have picked the worst possible system to be in charge of this, to give them a monopoly, to keep us sick. Everything in our society of any significance has everything to do with our health or our lack of health. That's why everything associated with this is controlled and manipulated. That's why doctors don't know anything about why we're sick. That's why nutritionists don't know anything about why we're sick. That's why they make stupid statements saying that there is no such thing as the wrong food. I'm only a couple feet over from the bushes over here, and I just heard something running through there real quick. I wonder what that was. Anyway, if I start running, you'll know something's coming after me. But that's not going to happen. Easy to get distracted, isn't it? Watch TV, and next thing you know, you got some commercial wanting you to eat the wrong food. What are they doing putting commercials on at 10:30 at night? Hey, we got some yummy hamburgers around the corner. Hey, let's get in the car, let's go for a ride. Oh, for the summer, they got these on sale. Let's go. It's not easy, is it? The commercials are bombarding our brain with eating the wrong food, thinking it's okay. Bombarded with all this bullshit, thinking that someone else has a solution for your problem. Don't blame those greasy fries. Blame biology. Even something as simple as acne is a medical condition. Ask your doctor, ask your doctor, ask your doctor. You go to a dermatologist, these have got to be one of the stupidest groups of doctors out there. I mean, every one of them are dumb, dumber than a doornail. The ones at the top of my list would be the pediatricians. Shame on you for vaccinating children. Oh man, I could just strangle you, man. Injecting children with that. Then you got the infectious disease people. They got to be really low on the IQ side. But these other ones I just mentioned, dermatologists, my God. You can't even figure out where this crap is coming from. What do you got stuff coming out of your skin for? Where is it coming from? It's from the other side of the cells, where what you don't study. It's the lymph system. Don't blame biology. This isn't an inaccurate signal. This isn't a medical condition. Medical conditions are just names for symptoms to trick you and fool you. Remember, allopathic doctors are magicians. It's all a sleight of hand trick. You always have the same thing when you look at things, folks. It's cause and effect. Cause and effect. The effect is the medical condition. You've got acne. You've got hepatitis. You've got cancer. You got something that's a symptom, okay? Focus over here. This hand right here, the cause hand, don't look at it. We don't know it. You don't know it either. Just focus on the symptom. It's a sleight of hand trick. That's what they're doing to us. They're tricking us and fooling us, convincing us that these problems are outside our control. That's what these commercials are doing. So it's, in effect, death by commercials, death by advertisements. Once again, folks, the root cause to virtually every problem we have can be reflected in our commercials. Food and drugs, food and drugs. That's what you see over and over, isn't it? Here, eat this crap. Here, take this poison. If you eat this crap, you're going to have to take this poison. And you'll get more poison, you'll get more crap. It's a vicious cycle, folks. We need to get out of this. We can do it. We're getting closer and closer. Now, what we're seeing right now is an attempt to suppress the truth one more time by going after people like myself on YouTube, trying to penalize us by saying that our videos are not advertiser friendly. Well, the good news about this story is when we look at a big organization like YouTube or any big corporation, the sickest of them all are at the top. The majority of the people are good people. The majority of people working at YouTube, almost every one of you guys, are good people. This is what's going to make us win this battle. Is they can't defeat us if we stay united. All of you employees at YouTube, all you employees everywhere that are working for an evil corporation, what you have to do about their policies is consider it just like the same thing as Emerson would say, is every actual state is corrupt. Good men must not obey laws too well. Same thing with employer policies. Good employees must not obey all employer laws or policies too well, because they're designed to keep us where we're at. There's only one way the status quo can remain the status quo, and it's to keep you sick. It's to keep things the way they are right now. It's to keep the truth suppressed. Don't let that happen. Play your role. Make videos, copy my videos, share my videos. Prepare for the worst. If they take my videos down, have copies of all of my videos so you can keep my videos alive. That's the great thing about this knowledge. That's the great thing about an idea as time has come. Can't destroy it. It's indestructible. That's why it's time to get excited. It's time to keep on the hero's journey. Don't get discouraged. And I know it's easy now and then to get discouraged. I get discouraged every now and then. It only takes one idiot that I talk to that isn't ready for this to make me go, boy, don't know if I even want to do this again. But yeah, I do, and it turns out to be the best thing ever because that person is ready and they are receptive. And that's when it gets exciting in life. When you can find the people who are ready for this, it makes it worth it. And sure enough, it only takes one guy that's not ready to really just make you want to give up. And I've been doing this 27 years, and I haven't given up yet. And there are certain days I just really want to just scream at the top of my voice, I'm in Plato's cave, help me, help me. But those days are very far and in between. Most of my days are filled with so much joy that I get to spend my day helping people, knowing that I'm making a difference, and I'm seeing it reflected in the comment section of my videos. I've got such great soldiers in my army, trim tabs that understand the significance of this message. And you guys are doing a bang-up job. I want to thank you once again. I can't say enough. You know what I think of you guys. I know every one of y'all who are doing this understand the big picture, and I know in your heart you know how much I appreciate your work. I don't have to say anything, I know that. And I know a lot of people are brand new to this and not really sure what to think of me. I realize there are at least 5 main stages to the hero's journey, and if you're new to it, you're in the first couple of stages, you might not be able to understand the latter part of the stages, and I understand that. I even asked you guys' input on whether or not I should rate my videos as to who this video is appealing to. And I still think sometimes that might not be a bad idea. But I guess you guys will figure it out, hopefully, and it won't create too much confusion with you. The best advice I could give everybody is to stay on the hero's journey, keep gathering data. I've done a video on just about every subject I can think of, just about, over the last couple years, last year and a half or so. I've got close to 500 videos now. In fact, I was thinking of a way to help promote this. If I could just get 10% of my subscribers to go back and re-watch all of my videos, and there's close to about 500 of them, and go back and watch them, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and double check that they didn't take it away from you. They're doing that now. I know it's on my channel. They did it to me several times. Someone else commented that it happened to them. And then the first time it happened to me when I did my video today, I kept going back and they undid it. So if only 10% of my subscribers were to go back and watch all of those videos in the course of a month, you know, every day go back and watch a few of them and give me a thumbs up. If just 10% of you guys did that, that'd be like 1.3 million views in 30 days. And if the next month I could get another 10%, if I finally get all you guys to do that in 10 months, that's like 13.5 million views that my channel would get. And it's not about me, it's about this message growing. So that's one way to make my message grow. If you haven't watched all of my old videos, don't look at the count and go, oh, well, this didn't get many views. Well, you have to understand how many subscribers I had at that point. I'm also getting a lot of feedback from people saying, you should try this and try this and try this. And thank you, man. I'm not a very analytical guy. I never thought of any of those. Wow. And you know what? You didn't know what was happening back here and why that happened. And you don't know, because you haven't watched all my videos, that I already took that idea and I did this and it didn't work the next time. So here's an idea. Here's some advice for all of my people who want to give me advice. Watch every one of my videos, then give me some advice and I'll listen to you. In the meantime, go ahead and give me your advice. I'll take it with a grain of salt as I do with everything. I won't resent you. That's part of what it takes on the hero's journey, is to not get distracted by people who think you're not clever enough to do what they're suggesting you should do. That's okay. I know you probably haven't watched very many of my videos. You think I'm inept. I'm an old man. You don't know how to do these certain things. And of course, I'm getting lots of great advice on things that are pertinent. DTube, I've been checking that out recently. Thanks for offering that type of advice. I like that type of advice. Otherwise, I'm kind of scratching my head, I guess, with some of you guys. Again, this message is so powerful that we've got to figure out a way to make it grow. I appreciate all your ideas, even though you haven't watched all my videos and you don't know I've already done half the things you're suggesting I should do. And I don't want to even go that direction at all. I guess I need to wrap up this video. I'm rambling and rambling and rambling because there's so many topics that apply to this right now. And why? It's because the whole world revolves around our mistakes. I could talk for another 10 hours in this one video alone and talk about all sorts of subjects that are related to this. But now it's pertinent to what's happening on YouTube. A lot of people are seeing what's happening with the YouTube views and how we're guilty before innocent and we're penalized. A lot of people will never make the 1,000 threshold. And a lot of people only get over 1,000, so you're pretty much figuring out a way to keep the truth movement from growing. That's potentially what it's all about. Now I will digress one more time, because I know what it's like behind closed doors in most businesses. It's not hard for me to imagine what they're doing behind that closed door. I know what they're doing. Gotta make that bottom line bigger. How do you make the bottom line bigger? There's two ways. Two ways to make the bottom line bigger in a business. The bottom line is the profit or loss. We want to make that bottom line bigger, more money, more profit. How do you do it? Two main ways. One is to increase the sales. Hey, if we can double our sales. The other is reduce the expenses. So that's what happens behind closed doors. Imagine you're in an industry and you're thinking, boy, let me see, look where we're spending most of our money. Boy, this is a really high expense right here. I wonder if we could turn that expense into income. Woo! Now that's an idea I'll get a bonus for. And classic example would be something like fluoride. You know how much money it takes for us to get rid of this toxic fluoride? Well, let's just convince the cities to put it in their water and they'll pay us for it. Woohoo! This is kind of what this sick world is all about. And the reason why I brought that up, because it has to do with our subsequent need for money. So just like the advertisers and the commercials have to do with our subsequent need for money, money's a big problem. Big, big problem. And until we realize that it's a subsequent need, all we can do is downstream solutions. But there's one huge downstream solution we need to work with when it comes to the money side of the equation. And that is to stop letting someone else print our money and turn us into a debt slave. A lot of people are in denial about this, but it's something I mention in my videos for a darn good reason. Money is the absolute tool of control. Money is what is used by the people who have all the money so they can own and control every major sector of human endeavor. So now the advertisers can use the power from our subsequent need for money, to silence people trying to tell the truth that what they're doing is harmful. So the two main things we need to do with this absolute tool of control. Number one, take it away from these bastards. Start printing our own money in the Fed. Don't audit the Fed. You don't audit the mafia. You shut them down. Then you audit them so you can get their assets and redistribute them, because they stole them from us. Remember, in 1913, $1 today, that's when the Federal Reserve Act was passed, $1 today is only worth 4 cents. I said a penny is only worth 4 cents the other day. I misspoke, but I do that all the time. I hope you guys realize that. And I'm not going to go back and edit any of this stuff. Look into the Persian rug, and maybe you'll understand why I do videos the way I do. And then I won't get more advice on how to make that perfect edited video. Well, I've rambled a bunch right now. I pointed out how money is the absolute tool of control, and that ties in to the commercials, which is a reflection of our problems. But don't forget the absolute tool of control, or the ultimate tool of control. Money is the absolute tool. Medicine is the ultimate tool of control. That's why half of these commercials that I'm talking about are the drugs. The other half, money, are food. Food and drugs, food and drugs. It's all made possible because of money. And it's even more made possible because of our health. We don't have our health. As a result, we have the wrong mentality. As a result, we have a subsequent need for money. As a result, we have advertisers brainwashing us on the TV and the YouTube and the internet and in movies everywhere else. And now they're flexing their muscle and saying, hey, penalize these guys. They're not advertiser friendly. YouTube employees, you play a role, my friends. Every one of my videos that have been reviewed have been accepted. Every one of them. But you keep challenging all of my videos as if there's something wrong with it. Oh, we reviewed it. Here's a question for you guys. How many of my videos are you going to have to review before you realize it's all a ruse? Well, you already know it's a ruse. That's a silly question, isn't it? You're going to keep doing it, aren't you? More than likely. I've seen other videos, and this is what's happening to other people. They're penalizing people, and this is the point I didn't finish a little while ago. I know what it's like to sit behind closed doors. Now, think of YouTube and AdSense trying to make money. Say, okay, we'll pay you so much if we can advertise on your YouTube channel. But if your video is not suitable for all advertisers, we're only going to pay you a fraction of that. Now, how much money are they saving by not paying the first 1,000 views on all of these videos? Again, I understand what it's like to sit behind closed doors. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't all initiated through money. I know better, though. It's more than that. It's about the suppression of the knowledge. But whenever something doesn't make sense, you can follow the money, and many times that explains what's happening. And I'm sure that part of the motivation, that may be the reason why it's being explained to everybody, saying, look, we're going to do this because we figured out how to increase that bottom line. We're going to reduce the amount of money we pay. Let's think about this. How much, if I lose $100 a month, how many YouTube creators like me do you have? $100 a month times a million? Are there a million YouTube creators? I think there are at least that many. How many that are affected like me at only $100 a month? Maybe I'm just using that as an example to illustrate how much money that is. What if they do it to someone bigger that's making a whole lot of money? And now, instead of paying them couple thousand or 10,000, they pay them 5,000. What if you have 1 million of those people you're making $5,000 off a month each? So there's a remote possibility that that's the only motive, but it's very remote. It's not the only motive. I'm sure it's part of it. The main motive, of course, is to keep the status quo the status quo. We know that there's a small group of people who own and control everything. There's an interlocking board of directorates that's in charge of all the major corporations. They own the media. They own Google. They own YouTube. They're trying their hardest to keep us ignorant, to keep us from figuring out how to wake up from this nightmare. But it's in all of our best interest to wake up from this nightmare. Everyone is going to benefit. Even the psychopaths who rule the world, they don't understand it. But I guarantee you, this world will be better when we're all out of this hole we created and stop acting like crabs trying to pull each other down. It's insane. And then to turn around and give children chemo and go, okay, how do we turn that into a positive? Oh, well, we'll have this bone marrow transplant. Look at us, we're so clever. You know, we gave chemo to this little girl that destroyed her bone marrow. Well, look at us, we got some bone marrow. Look, I can't even stand watching that new show on the Discovery Channel. I watch half a minute of it and I just want to scream. It's so much baloney designed to keep us bombarded and overwhelmed so we can't make sense out of this. But we can change all that. It begins by taking responsibility. If you haven't done this yet, check out A Solid Food Vacation. If you're not ready to take a quantum leap approach, just increase the amount of fruits and vegetables you eat in your diet every day. I guarantee if you make that simple adjustment, I think that's a rabbit over there. I hear him scratching. If you just make that simple adjustment, I can guarantee you, that in itself is enough for a lot of you guys to be in for a treat.